Okay, everyone, good morning. It's the 18th of December, 2022, and this is the Fellowship of Spirit Zoom meeting coming to you from Farmington, New Mexico. I'm Ron Holloway, and I'll be your moderator. And we have a wonderful, exciting program for you today. Shay Johnson will be our music today. And Jenny is going to do our spiritual reading, Jenny Jones, and Susan Barnes-Smith from Belize is going to give us our message. And I think everything is going to be on a theme of the solstice. We are just a few days away from solstice, and I know for myself, I am ready for a change. I'm ready for the energy to come back. It's getting lower and lower, and so I'm just really ready for that change, so that we come back to life. And so we're welcome. So as far as for announcements, we have some announcements that we will make at the end of the session, because well, we're few numbers, and we know that other people are coming out. We'd rather for them to be here so that we can discuss some things at the end. Okay, so Shay, are you ready for our prelude? Hi, Wendy.
Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Shay. I'm looking forward to her sharing her beautiful voice with us a little bit later on. So, does anyone have an opening prayer? Well, Father, Mother God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this fellowship. We thank you for the love that you share with us every single moment of every day. We thank you for the opportunity to increase our awareness and consciousness of that love. We thank you for all those who have taken the time to make presentations for today. We ask that you would bless them and bless our congregation as we go forward. Amen. Okay, so now Shay is going to have a song called The Dark of Winter. Don't look for it in your books. It is not there, but she is going to sing for us rather than having us sing. So take it away, Shay.
Sing a song, the blessed song of
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. I don't know how this
Shay,
jumped up
you know
there.
that light turns on above you there? That you will see a little bit better.
Coming up the light.
So, let us join in our reflective moment. Love produces a flow of energy that I now feel. I love others more than ever, and I feel privileged to be here. Love flows from one person to another as we create an atmosphere of holiness, and so it is. Okay, so our Jenny is going to come and do a spiritual reading.
Okay. It's just okay. Thank you.
Where are you wanting to be on the side?
Well, the light is so crazy.
Oh, you're trying
Right.
to stay away from that.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, we could do
How
that.
about that?
Yeah, that's better.
Turn this.
Okay.
Wow, now you're in the perfect light.
That's one way of putting it. Okay. This is not going to stand up. That would be
Not really.
okay. Technical difficulties. I have they're sort of two sources. I'm going to read from the Moon calendar about the solstice, but Moon also sends out a weekly, yeah.
Sorry, could you speak up a little bit? My head is still stuck up.
Okay.
And not-
I'll do my best. Okay.
Get that microphone a little closer.
So,
This microphone is only for
yeah.
the Zoom people. This is the microphone over there that for
You
you.
want me to get it?
So I need to use my teacher voice.
Hang
Okay.
on a second.
So both of these are sourced from Moon, and Moon is, they send lunar news every week. And so the first part I'll read is from that. And the second part is from the calendar, and that's what I usually use. So, all right. Thanks. Okay.
Now we're all mic'd up.
We are so mic'd. Okay. Let me turn it this way. It's called Star Codes for the Week is what I'm after here. And of course I had it up and then I moved. So, okay. What does 2022 hold for us? All right, here we go. Hold still for a moment during this darkest week in the Northern Hemisphere. The sun rises and sets around the same time for 3 days around Wednesday's winter solstice. Even in this busy season, find solace and rest in the deep quiet during this liminal moment in a break between major transits in the dark winter's chill. Search for our universal connection in that quiet. Like a dormant tree, let this quiet seep into the bones to renew, because it's going to be a busy season ahead. We can use that quiet to contemplate what we want to launch this year. Okay, look for the arrival of interesting people and open doors, as well as watch for new problems that hit crises. Okay, so that's that part.
And that's for the upcoming
Week.
time, not necessarily a universal time.
This is for the week. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and this one, of course, is about winter solstice. The shortest day, the longest night, the stars brought closer by the primordial dark. The sun stands still as we hunker down like heavy bears, put down what we are braced against, bring everyone inside, sit down to every meal as a feast, share our gifts from the tree of life, bauble and sparkle against all that is dreary, wreath the door with the green that never dies, drift like snowbanks into lazy peace. On midwinter's morning, as the lambent glow of magic sidles closer, we go out in good company with a flask of something spiced to stand in sacred waiting for the birth of something precious. For dear mother to carry the sun back on her uplifted antlers. In this moment, the ancient stirs in us, illuminating our heart's deepest chambers, renewing our strength to challenge the injustices we were born into and we were born to stem. Everything we care about pivots on this one thing: the life and light that have left the world, the love that will be returning.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much. And Jerry, were you able to hear better now? You're not? Well, can you hear now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it needs to be.
That's what it needs to be on the person. So I'll leave this up here. Couldn't Jenny? No, Jenny's gonna, why don't you turn that off and put it on her, here, because she's gonna, no, you're not, no, you're done. Okay, yeah, she's done. So you can, yeah, here, give it to me.
I'll turn it off.
Yeah. So do you hear me okay? Okay, so I don't need this.
Quiet voice.
I don't need
Nobody's
this.
ever said that to me before. Say it to you.
Okay, in a small, quiet voice.
That's why I moved up here too.
Ah,
My
okay.
head stuffed up like it's been, I don't hear as well as I normally do.
Right. Well, okay, so now we have another Shay song. Now the Day is Over. It's composed by Frederick Phillips. Is that how you say that? Phillips? Phillips. I don't know Mr. Phillips, but anyway, he wrote this beautiful song that Shay is going to perform for us now. So. Thank you. Thank you. Well, before we continue on, I want to thank Margaret for her program last week. And I want to clarify, is it Poco Ono Ono or Ono or Poco Ono Ono Poco Poco?
Oh, like ho ho, oh pono pono.
Ho Oho Pono.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like.
And the name of the book, it was Zero what? Limits?
Zero limits.
Zero limits. Because this year, I mean, this past week, when I found myself to be upset, worrying, in doubt, angry, whatever, I have 5 dogs at my house that are all 6 months old, and almost big as horses, and they can really stir up my anger at times. But I would try to practice that. I would stop and give those 4 responses. And I don't know that it helped the situation, but I felt better about it. And I think that's the purpose of it, is to still our interaction with stuff, right? And as we have been told before, those things that when we change the way we look at something, the something changes too. So thank you, Margaret, for bringing that to us. Okay, so today is Susan Barnes-Smith is going to talk to us.
Hello? You're starting to talk real low there.
I said today,
Thank you.
our Susan Barnes-Smith is going to speak to us on something. I'll let her introduce the title of it, but she always has good things to say and always enriches our life, and we thank you for that. So go ahead, Susan.
Okay, so Jerry, can you hear me?
Mostly?
Mostly? Okay, so here we are, Christmas, and you guys won't be meeting next week. That's my understanding, correct?
Right.
Okay, so why are we celebrating Christmas on December 25th? And so the title of my talk was Have a Very Merry Pagan Christmas, because actually Christmas has very little to do with Christianity. It has so much more to do with all of the very ancient traditions. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, well, first of all, what's pagan anyway? Pagan is just someone who's holding a religious belief that's not exactly in mainstream at the time. And usually paganism worships many gods, goddesses. Yeah, don't forget the goddesses. And also is very much in tune with the earth and with nature. So let's look at why. Why was December 25th chosen supposedly as Jesus's birthday? So I want to go back to number one, his parents, supposedly Joseph and Mary. And what we have to understand is that the word Joseph is not a name. It means chief. And Joseph was the head of the Essenes. Okay, now back then we had three sections of Judaism. You had the Sadducees, the Pharisees, well, actually there were four. There was the Therapeutic, and then there were the Essenes. And a lot of the New Testament actually comes from writings of the Essenes. So Joseph was the head of that. And Mary is a title also. It means beloved. If we're talking about more of Egyptian terms, supposedly in Hebrew, it means sorrowful, but it's not actually the name of the person. Now, because Joseph was the head of the scenes, they had certain rules that they had to follow. And one of them is that the next head of the Essenes had to be conceived in March so that they could be born in December, the time of renewal, the return of the sun. Okay, so the thing is, I think Joseph was about 56. Mary was about 14, and she was pregnant. And Joseph married her because if he didn't, she would have been either ostracized or killed. Now, the other thing about Joseph was that he was not necessarily a carpenter. And let's look at the symbols for carpentry. And isn't it coincidental that it also happens to be symbols of what we now call Mason? It's just a thought. So anyway, Mary was pregnant and now she's going to have this baby. In the Bible, it says the shepherds were in the field Well, it's interesting, but shepherds were only in the field from March till November, not December. So that would put his birth obviously before November. And after doing a lot of research, there's some people who have come up with that Jesus, which is a Greek name, his name would have been Yeshua. So Yeshua was probably born before November, and they think that probably it was like between September, I think 11th, somewhere up to the 27th. Okay, now let's go back to, there was a census, right? And they were traveling to Jerusalem, Bethlehem, wherever he was born. Yeah, Bethlehem. And the census actually was in 6 BC, before the Common Era. And then there was also the thing about Herod. Now, Herod died in 4 BCE, which means that Yeshua would have had to have been born before that, because Herod was killing everybody under 2 years of age. So why are we doing Yeshua's birthday on December 25th? Well, this is the time of Constantine. And what he did is he used December 25th, which happened to be, this was before they jiggled the calendar. The 25th was actually the solstice, to convert everybody to the religion that he converted to, which was Christianity. And it was really a political move. And this was to help to bring all of those who practiced paganism, not the state religion, over to bringing them to the state religion. And then in 350 of the Common Era, Pope Julius decreed that Jesus, Yeshua, was born on December 25th. So where did all of our Christmas traditions, where did they come from? Actually, they're very Roman, they're Celtic, they're Norse, they're Druidic. You know, they come from everywhere. So one of the biggest things that the Romans had was Saturnalia. And this was to honor the Roman god of agriculture. This was absolutely the most popular holiday in all of it, the ancient Roman calendar. And actually, it was celebrated from December 17th up to the 25th. But it was really derived from much older rituals, basically winter solstice. Now, at this time, all work and businesses stopped. The social patterns were suspended, and actually they were reversed. That was also the time when slaves, and by this time, a lot of the people who were slaves had converted to Christianity. Anyway, they didn't work. And so what the slaves did is to be able to practice their Christianity, they needed to celebrate on the day that they had off, which just happened to be December 25th. And so they did not work. And the masters, of course, who are mostly more in the Roman pagan things, they served the slaves on that day. Now, how did they spend this day? They spent it gambling. They spent it singing or caroling with lots of music, beautiful music. Yeah, I appreciate all the music that comes from the fellowship. And feasting was very important. The socializing, the gift giving. Oh yeah, let's not forget the kissing under the mistletoe. Um, and then there were the Christmas stockings, and there's the Christmas tree. So what we need to do is look at all of these things. So we'll start with the caroling, the singing. It was also called wassailing. And you know, you've heard the Christmas carol, "Here we come a wassailing along among the leaves so green." Anyway, wassailing actually comes from the Saxon word wassail, which means good health. And the purpose of this Christmas caroling was to banish all the evil spirits. So you're going to go out and chase them away. And for also, when you're in front of someone's house, you are wishing them good health. Wassail. So now the carolers, usually because it was a little bit on the chilly side, carried a drink. And this drink was made from ale and cream and apples and eggs and spices and sugar. Sounds real similar to eggnog. So anyway, so they were carrying this all around. And then in the 13th century, St. Francis, he actually started the tradition of Christmas caroling. So now we're going to move on to the gift giving. Why would we give gifts? And we can find references in the 12 Days of Christmas, A Little Drummer Boy, actually from Holly Jolly Christmas, and then also giving gifts from Good King Wenceslas. And okay, this was where the wealthy, good king, okay, and he's giving to a poor man. And why would they do that? So this was an exchange of small gifts, and this was to bring good luck and also to receive good luck in the coming year. So it was a small gift. It's not like what we do today, where there's a huge amount of presents and spoiling all of our loving children. Okay, so that's why we exchange gifts. That's to bring good luck to them and us. Why we go Christmas caroling. Okay, let's go on to kissing under the mistletoe. This came from all the traditions, okay? Roman, the Celts, the Druids, the Norse, all of them were doing that because the mistletoe is a sacred plant. And it was used to honor the god Saturn, like with the Saturnalia, and with fertility rites. Okay, does that sound like something? Fertility rites? Well, we limit it today to just kissing, but it really entailed a lot more than that. So, to the Druids, of course, it was a symbol of peace and joy. And of course, on the Christmas Carol side, we have the mistletoe and the holly. Okay. The next thing that they did during Saturnalia, of course, was the Christmas stocking. Well, they didn't call it Christmas stockings then. So there's several things that go back to this legend, and one of them was Saint Nicholas, who was a bishop in Turkey. And I don't know if you realize, Turkey was a very Christian country. Until during the Crusades, the Christians didn't bother to ask anybody in Turkey what religion they were. They just would wipe out a village or something. And basically, they ended up killing out Christianity in Turkey and left it to the Muslims. So anyway, this bishop in Turkey, he heard of a single man who had 3 daughters. Now, at that time, a woman could not marry unless she had a dowry. And this man was very, very poor. So he would not be able to marry his daughters off. And what's more, he really didn't have enough to feed all 3 of them, well, all 4 of them. So good St. Nicholas, he would drop gold coins down the chimney. And the coins would fall into the stockings of the girls as they were drying. Now that's one story. Now the other story is more of a Norse nature in that, okay, Odin, who was one of the chief gods, it was said that he came during the Yuletide. Yuletide, of course, being winter solstice. And the children would leave sugar and carrots and hay in their shoes to feed Odin's flying horse. Okay, so flying horse. Oh, that's right. It was a flying horse with 8 legs. Yeah, Santa had 8 reindeer. So I wonder how that happened. Now, in turn, because they would leave these little gifts, Odin would leave little gifts for them. And actually, when I was looking at the Christmas stockings and how it's used today, the first thing that came up was a poem that was written in 1823. And it was called "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." And all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. On a more modern tone for Christmas stockings is "All I Want for Christmas Is You," which was a very interesting thing. We had a Christmas lighting ceremony last Friday, and different groups get up and perform, and then they light the big, huge Christmas tree in the center of town. And all the groups, that's all they were singing is "All I Want for Christmas Is You." So why would we have a Christmas tree? What about the Christmas tree? Okay, now during the Saturnalia, the Romans would hang metal ornaments on trees. This is to represent a god or a patron saint. And the Germans, now what they did is they decorated an evergreen tree with fruits and with candles to honor, of course, Odin, who happened to be the god of wisdom, of healing, of royalty. In fact, they say that royalty was descended from Odin. He was also the god of war, of victory, of poetry. Oh, it was the night before Christmas. And he was also the god of death. But when you have death, you have resurrection, which would be, of course, winter solstice with the return of the sun. Now, Odin used to ride a horse who was called Sleipnir, and he happened to be a horse with 8 legs. And mostly Odin is associated with Yule. But the Christmas tree, of course, now I never really could sing the English one, "Oh Christmas Tree," because when I was in high school, I was studying German. And of course, I learned the song "O Tannenbaum." How green are your leaves. And the thing is that with Saturnalia, with all of the Norse people, the evergreen was such an important part of their celebration. So, what was this Yule that Odin was associated with? Yule time celebrates the new year, rebirth, the return of the sun. And I'm going to return of the S-U-N, or is it the return of the S-O-N? The sun being the Christ consciousness. So it was a 3-night festival, and it was time to celebrate, a time to make oaths, which were unbreakable. So unlike our New Year's resolutions that usually are broken by January 16th or so, these oaths were unbreakable. And it was also a time for divination, that to see what was going to affect the future. So they celebrated it with the Yule log, and we commemorate it with the song Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly. Also with delicious food and very heavy drinking. And this heavy drinking was actually done in order to create abundance and to give thanks for the abundance of the past year. So the Yule time is actually one of the oldest celebrations that they have, commemorating, of course, the winter solstice, the return of the sun. So the men would go out and they would find this massive Yule log, usually of oak. And then the women would decorate with the evergreens and the candles. Oh, that's the song, also the holly and the ivy. And even today, there are new age druids, things like that, who still celebrate at places such as Stonehenge to celebrate the Yule. Now, lastly, we come to Santa Claus. Sinterklaas in Dutch. And this was a mixture of St. Nicholas, of Odin and his 8-legged horse Sleipnir. And in 1932, of Coca-Cola. Yeah, it's also in English, he was Father Time or Father Christmas. And he was supposed to be just a symbol of the season. Okay, then Santa Claus is also a takeoff on St. Nicholas. And I don't know if I said it before, but St. Nicholas actually lived in Turkey in around 280. And he was so admired for his piety and for his kindness. He gave away all of his inherited wealth. But this idea of Santa Claus really didn't go over to England until about 1850. And then Father Christmas took on all the attributes of Santa Claus. Now, St. Nicholas actually has a feast day, and which is December 6th. And I think that's still celebrated by some people.
It is.
Yeah. And I said, Santa Claus really, really was kind of personalized by this poem, The Night Before Christmas. Coming down the chimney and a jolly old elf and things like that. So Christmas songs about that is Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh, here's one that incorporates both Santa Claus and the mistletoe. I saw Mommy kissing Santa Claus. So this is more of a Western idea of winter solstice, of supposedly the birth of Yeshua, these things. And it was a little different if we come down here to Peru where the Incas were. Now, they did the same thing in the Yule as celebrating the 3 days, but they would fast for 3 days before the winter solstice. And their celebration was called Inti Raymi, and that just means sun festival. And then they celebrated and feasted, and they also would sacrifice a llama for their celebration. So those are all of the things that we do for Christmas. And yet, as I first started out, Christmas is not Yeshua's birthday, but it is a return of the sun. And we are all sons of the Father. There's a oneness there. And so it is the rebirth of the Christ within us. And so I would like to conclude with a reading from the Course, because that's been my main source of spiritual inspiration for the last 38 years. The sign of Christmas is a star, a light in darkness. And see it not outside yourself, but shining in the heaven within. And accept it as the sign the time of Christ has come. For he comes demanding nothing, no sacrifice of any kind or of any one. So this Christmas, give the Holy Spirit everything that would hurt you, and let yourself be healed completely, that you may join with the Christ in healing. So this is the time in which a new year will soon be born from the time of Christ. And so will this year begin in joy and freedom. There is much to do, and we have been long delayed. Accept the holy instant as this year is born, and take your place so long left unfulfilled in the great awakening. And let all your relationships be made holy for you. For this is God's will, and so it is. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Does anyone have anything that they would like to say to Susan?
Oh, yeah.
That is appropriate for this gathering. So.
Hey, I'm always appropriate,
Yeah, you are.
Except when you're not.
except when I'm not. Darling, I love you.
I love you too, Jerry.
Thank you for all of the different associations of the paganism and from the different cultures and from all of the different portions of the world that have been brought together to form what we consider Christmas now, and still maintaining the spirituality of it that we have given it, even though we've managed to attach these other things like the decorations on the Christmas tree to the season. So thank you for sharing your knowledge of all of this, because there's a lot of it that I didn't know. There's a lot of it that I never read. There's a lot of it that I never knew where it came from. It's just there. And to me, it's really interesting to know why these things have been attached and why they've become part of our Christmas tradition, and why some people resist it and why some people accept it and why it's become the norm. So thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for your wisdom, and thank you for sharing it with us.
But you know, for the time of Christ, I mean, it is. Rather, it was Roman and Saturnalia or Norse or the Druidic thing. It's all one. It's a return of the Son, the Christ within us. It was always a very spiritual time, but it was also a very joyous time. And it's a time to make connections, I think, with your friends, with your families, with those that you love. And it's always been that, whether we call it a Christian ceremony or whatever it comes from.
Very true. Very
Yeah.
true. But thank you very much.
Anyone else? Okay, well, Susan, we do thank you for your talk. You know, the tools that you referred to, but you didn't tell them what they were. With the carpenter and masonry, are the square, the level, and the plumb is what are used by carpenters to lay out their work and to build things. And so that's a good reference and a good way to show that all facets of our of our societies have come to merge these things into our Christmas beliefs. And but that's true of everything today, is that all these traditions and all of the things and the things that are valued in each society have sort of become enmeshed with one another to bring up to one consciousness, which is where we're going. It's what we're supposed to be doing. And I think that one of the reasons that this is a spiritual time of year is that our senses in the dark are limited. They are diminished. And so as we get the senses away, then our spirituality is more prominent. We don't have so many things in the way that we can actually feel and interact with the God of the universe, the energy of love that is there and available for us all the time, but things get in the way. And things are so wonderful in July, you don't worry about things because we can get out and do things, and our senses are all excited and we enjoy the fruits of the universe, but they're not as prominent as when they are denied us. You agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Susan from Belize. Let's give her a hand. We appreciate it. And where is he in today? Is he not available?
Yeah, he needed a day off. He's been working very, very hard because we are doing two things this coming week. One, we will, of course, be celebrating winter solstice with our lodge. And the other thing is on the 23rd, we are having the children of the village come, and we are going to be doing Christmas caroling and having some games. I've got some teachers coming over from one of the schools who's really good at handling lots of children. So we're hoping to have a whole lot of children. So he kind of needed a break from all of the preparations, which he's been doing for this coming week, because it's been a very hectic week for him.
All right. Well, thank you. Give him our love, and we wish him well. We wish you well, and this time of celebration and coming together to share the goodness that is here and available for all of us. We appreciate it. So thank you very much, Susan, and have a great holidays.
Yeah, planning on it.
Okay, so now another wonderful song from Shay. You want me to tell them what it is?
Come sing a song with me. It's one of my favorite
It's not in the book though.
No, it's not.
Oh, that's the name of the song. Come sing a song with me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me that I might know your might. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
All right. Thank you, Shay. When is it that you are going to be going to your trip to the north?
It's up in the air yet.
Up in the air. Okay. So we'll not fear it until it gets here, okay? We will miss you. You become a jewel to us here in this church and really a blessing. You have, yes. So thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we're going to have our celebration of abundance. So let us put over our heart that which we intend to contribute. And say with me, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive through infinity. I am prosperous.
This is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. And you can, if you are on Zoom and you want to contribute to our financial well-being here at Fellowship of Spirit, you can mail your contribution in by check. Don't send cash, but by check to 2009 East 13th Street.
401.
And here in Farmington, New Mexico, 87401, and we will get it. It comes right here to us, and we check the box every day, pretty much.
Can do PayPal if you choose.
And also, PayPal is available to be done on our also. So, okay, are there any announcements from the congregation? Anybody online?
We need to remember that next Sunday we won't
Yeah,
have service.
I'm getting to that. Okay. Okay, next Sunday, we will be not online. We will be celebrating Christmas because next Sunday is Christmas Day. And so we will not have a presence next Sunday. But the following Sunday, which will be the first, we need to decide at this point whether or not we want to have our potluck. So those of you that are here now, we can decide on that. The pros and cons for it are that we always do potlucks on the first of the first Sunday of the month. And maybe the cons are that some people will have celebrations of their own on New Year's Day. So we will have, that morning, we will have our regular service on the first. Okay, but what we need to know now is, by a show of hands, those that would be in favor of having our potluck on that Sunday, New Year's Day.
And I'm pretty sure that Sue and Bill will want to.
Well, it's 5, and those who do not want to have it on that day,
I want
one,
I'm sorry.
and one abstainer. You did want it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Call me now.
So that's almost unanimous. So anyway, we will have a potluck on the first Sunday.
And Mark Wolf will be our speaker.
Mark Wolf will be our speaker,
Oh, boy.
and it'll be a great beginning of the new year.
It will.
And
Yeah.
so please come and join us when we gather up again on the 1st of January 2023. Boy, it
Yay.
really sounds strange to me.
Mhm.
You know,
We'll have a better year.
boy,
It'd be
wow.
nice to break bread together on the very
It
first.
will.
day.
Absolutely, absolutely, to have our family to gather together and break bread. It will be a great thing to do.
And please feel free to bring any family that you would like to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh.
anybody that would like to come and break bread with us.
Anyone that you ever want to bring, whether they be family or friends or whoever, someone you pick up on the side of the road, it doesn't matter. They are welcome in Fellowship of Spirit. Always welcome. We welcome newcomers and people who are curious about our ways and they just want to experience something different. We hope that we can give them to us, because we are certainly not mainstream, but we follow our own consciences, and so we try to make them as good and as wholesome and loving as we possibly can. Okay, so is there anything else? Okay, Jerry has volunteered, since Bill Clark is not with us today, who has been regularly doing our not necessarily a prayer, but our closing reading or thoughts. Jerry is going to.
This is from the little book called The Life and Teachings of Christ. And I thought it was apropos, especially from Susan's talk, but it's called The Birth of Jesus. And whatever day it happened to be on, it still is a very magnanimous thing that has happened. And they're very thankful that it has happened in our lifetime. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when the Cyrenians were the governor of Syria. And all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And Joseph also went from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them. And they were afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. I don't know why, but it makes me tearful to read this,
Maybe it's an emotion of joy.
probably.
Yeah.
And it came to pass, and the angels were gone away from them into heavens, and the shepherds came one to another, said one to another, Let us now go even unto Bethlehem, and see this thing which is come to pass, which the Lord hath made known to us. And they came with haste, and found Mary and Joseph and the babe lying in a manger. And when they had seen it, they made known abroad the saying which was told them concerning this child. And all that heard in wonder at these things which were told them by the shepherds. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all things that they had heard and seen, as it was told unto them. And when the 8 days were accomplished for the circumcising of the child, his name was called Jesus, which was so named of the angels before he was conceived in the womb. And that, to me, is what's important. Not necessarily the day that it happened, but the fact that it happened. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
I don't think it's necessarily the date. It doesn't matter. It's a celebration of love. It's a beautiful and inspiring story, and I'm sticking to it.
It is a milestone in our evolution of consciousness toward the oneness that we call God. It's a milestone. And, well, I don't know what this thing keeps jumping. Yeah. Anyway, so Jerry, thank you for the reading. And I know that the emotion that you're having is just because you're interacting with the goodness of that event, and it is resonating with the goodness in your heart, and it brings up emotion, and it's good. So thank you very much.
We should give Jared and Ron a hand for all they have done through this past year.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. Been our pleasure and honor.
It has.
And it, to me, these things are not a burden. They just come easily because it's just a good thing, and you are good people, and to share in goodness is a good thing. Okay, so now we are going to circle up.
Still fuzzy.
It's not too bad. It looks a little
pretty.
a little Christmassy with the fuzz.
There you go, yeah. It's a little foggy out.
So, 1, 2, 3.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and life. Weave us together us together in unity, and yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as our Father, family all are we. So let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, there begins with me, as this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
So I wish everyone and everyone that we know and love, ever widening circle, a very happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and may God bless you and keep you until we meet again.
Amen.
Right back at you.
Yes, God.
All right.
Oh, and you're
So,
Lovely.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
come here, Steve.
Brady came with his
Glad we got the microphone right this time.
Yeah.
He's changed his mind about
All right. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Wendy.
Bye.
Yvette.
All
Merry
right.
Christmas.
I'll take another one.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
the train rails are
Oh,
still,
yes.
whatever.
So special
So
to have
anyway,
you here.
something
Oh,
plastic
thank
and red.
you.
Yeah.
It's special.
And my
to me
daughter-in-law
to be
leaned down and
here.
picked it up,
Mhm.
and my other earrings are the
This
other
place.
shape. Okay, and that's what it was, and
I know.
had come
Yeah.
It's woven into
and she
Right.
rescued it. It's just like I would have.
So y'all come here, I wanna show y'all
She's like,
something.
okay,
Yeah.
Jerry? Come here, Shay.
Oh.
Okay, at the end of the recording, look at the screen. Okay, what we do, we go down here and we hit record.